Hello world, welcome back to Razor RC. Time to do a build review of my Traxxas TRX-4 chassis kit. So it took me about 10 hours to complete this kit. I did get a chance to run it. Hopefully you've seen my running video. Pretty much built it box stock with some different electronics though. The stock ESC only has like a 1 amp BEC, so you can't really run like super high torque servos. And the stock servo is really quite weak. It's only 125 inches of torque, which is way too low for a rock crawler slash trail truck or whatever. So in terms of electronics, what I decided to do was run the Echo Power WP120T servo. So it's got all metal gears except for one plastic gear, I think somewhere inside of it. But it's fairly high torque, so 337 inches of torque on 6 volts, and then it goes up to 400 if you can get up to 7.4 volts. But I believe these servos do not actually run at 7.4 volts, so you will have to run at 6. It's a $70 ESC. Got it from A-Main. Did not get sponsored or anything. I just bought that. And then in terms of the ESC, I need something fairly more powerful to run that. So I'm running the Quick Run Crawler brushed ESC. This sells for about $33. Or if you get the version with the programming card, then that is about $44, I think. So a relatively inexpensive ESC. I think it's also called the 1080, although it doesn't really say that anywhere on the box here. But that's the ESC I'm running. And then I'm running a 3S LiPo battery to power it. And yeah, so anyways, just wanted to give you my thoughts on the build. Overall, it was a fun build. It is a complex kit, so I would not recommend this as your very first kit to build. Probably makes more sense to get the ready run and just go that route. Because yeah, the transmission is quite complicated. Obviously this truck has a lot of features. It's got 2-speed transmission. It's got lockable discs with these servos here. It's got the portal axles. So somewhat of a complex build overall. One of the more complicated builds I had, but it was fun. The manual is quite good, so the manual is really nice, full color, lots of instructions. They really try to make it as easy as possible for this relatively complex vehicle. So not too many errors in the manual. In terms of mistakes, a couple of the screws I got, I think for the shock mounting screws, or maybe it was the link screws, were supposed to be 25 millimeter. They were 27 millimeter. I think it also says that these screws here that mount the battery tray on top are button head screws, but they're actually supposed to be the flathead screws. So just something to be aware of. But overall, yeah, it was a fun build. In my opinion, TRX is basically kind of like the SVT for Ford. The TRX is basically the high-end kits for Traxxas. So as I mentioned in my unboxing video, they had a TRX-1 and a TRX-3, which were probably their last race kit buggies, competition buggies, back when Traxxas actually used to make race kits. They pretty much obviously focus more on just ready to runs, and then this is their first new kit that you have to build yourself in probably like 20 years or something. So nice to see. I'm glad to see Traxxas at least put this out, and hopefully they'll put out more kits in the future, because it really is quite an interesting vehicle and well designed and well engineered. Quality is very, very high on this product. All the plastics, the molding, the detail all seem super high. I mean, the detail on like these portal axles and just, even just the axles themselves, or axle housings, the diff covers, all that kind of stuff, just look really, really nice. A high quality kit overall, and probably the highest quality product I've ever seen from Traxxas. In my opinion, the Wrestler, Stampede, Slash, those plastics in general are not super high quality, especially the two-wheel drive. I think the molds are getting a little bit old at this point. They're about 20 years old now, so the precision of those is not quite there. So other nice touches are there's actually Loctite on all the metal pieces. So for example, you can see these axles actually have blue Loctite. Same thing on like the set screw for the pinion, set screw for the servo horn, that kind of thing. So you don't have to provide any of your own Loctite. It does not come with Loctite, but everything's pre-Loctite for you. So like I said, they really try to make it as easy as possible. Things to watch out for. Number one, there's a little Eclipse on these cables. So the lockable diffs basically run to the diff housings themselves, and then have a tiny little Eclipse. If you can see it there, that little silver thing. Those are actually packaged with the cables themselves. I didn't realize that. I just grabbed the bag with the cable, pulled out the cable and threw away the bag and didn't realize there's actually Eclipse in there. So watch out for those. Those are really easy to lose. And other things, there's a lot of black metal pieces, black oxide finish metal that inside the axles, inside the transmission itself. Those are not super rust resistant, so I did actually spray a little silicone coating on there just to help try to prevent them from oxidizing and rusting quite as bad. Maybe something you want to do, because those are really not visible, so you won't be able to service them very well after you've built the truck. Another thing to watch out for is these tires are directional. So if you look at them up close, there is actually a little direction arrow. I don't know if you can see that. Tells you the direction of rotation. So you'll have to glue 2 of them one way and then 2 of them the other way to make sure they all are rotating in the correct direction. I don't think it says that in the manual. I also vented the tires, maybe a mistake, I don't know, but there are holes in these wheels, so you can definitely get water inside the tires, and with no way for that water to escape, they will tend to destroy your foams a little more quickly. It does have open cell foam, so they will eventually break down. And then yeah, that's kind of my tips. In terms of dislikes, couple little things. There's no body clips included with the kit. I don't know why. I mean, you obviously will need body clips, so you have to pick those up. There's a little plastic motor mount here that the motor bolts onto. That seems to have quite a bit of flex. This whole motor mount in general, motor mount housing and everything will tend to flex, so I'm probably going to look into a aluminum piece for that motor mount. And then the last thing is some of the parts don't look quite like how they look in the manual. So some of these things, I forget which parts it was, but I think some of these like chassis pieces, it was really hard to tell, like especially this lower gear cover. I couldn't really quite find that. I don't know, maybe the picture is slightly different from the actual piece, but I did have a little bit of trouble there. Other than that, the only real problem I had was that this motor wire right here, the red wire, is actually broken off of the motor itself, so couldn't really run the kit as is. I called up Traxxas. They were really kind and gracious and just sent me out a new motor, so don't even worry about it. I'm sure I could solder it back on, not a big deal, but they don't expect you to solder anything, so if something like that is broken, they'll just send you out a new motor. So that was pretty cool. As usual, Traxxas service is really, really good. Their support is outstanding. One of the best in the industry. So with this kit kind of being their first kit in a long, long time, and their market obviously being more of a ready to run, sort of newbie friendly type company, it's nice to see that they actually have very good support. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my build review. It's quite fun overall. I actually mated this kit to my Radiolink RC6GS. So I ended up mounting the ESC up on top because the ESC wire is quite short and the receiver box over here wouldn't quite reach the normal location over there. So I just put it on top of the battery mount with the little switch there. Yeah, this radio is actually pretty good for this kit because obviously it has steering and throttle, but I'm basically running 2 switches for the diffs. So I got lockable diffs front and rear. And then I'm using the push button basically for the 2-speed to go high-low. So this is working out really well. Actually one of the better crawler radios in my opinion. So yeah, I think that's about it for my build review. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe to my channel. As always, check out the running video I've got. And I'm going to be running this some more, trying some different things with it. And we'll do a full review video soon. So anyways, take care. Thanks for watching.